So let's see, did anything happen last month? Oh yeah, that's right. On March 15th, Joe Biden's Justice Department created the largest change to how we purchase and sell residential real estate ever. Now, I'm working on a full deep dive into this topic that'll explain what this is all about and who the winners and who are the losers here. But I'll give you a teaser. The losers are every single buyer in America not backed by a hedge fund or corporation, since buyers are now going to be responsible for paying their own agents' commissions. So taking this one step further, the biggest of losers are middle-class first-time home buyers and low-income buyers. It's already difficult for these people to find affordable housing and compete with all these cash-backed hedge funds and corporations that exist. Now, on top of the down payment and closing costs, they're now burdened with the task of paying their agents' fees just to become a homeowner. So the government managed to create yet more expense and obstacles for buyers to overcome. Effectively, the Justice Department handed people who need the most help a complete death blow. Now, to make matters even more absurd in a way that only our government could, Biden came out simultaneously with a plan to provide middle-class homebuyers with a $10,000 tax credit. That is, if they can even afford to buy a home to begin with now. So, cutting through the BS, the Justice Department took a free market system that was working, but was already challenging for lower and middle-class families, ripped it apart, made it more difficult for these families to purchase a home, and then announced a $10,000 tax credit for middle-class families that are lucky enough to purchase a home. So we went from a free market system that worked and replaced it with a less functional system that rewards corporate buyers and then threw the financial burden on us, the taxpayers, to fix a problem that didn't need fixing to begin with. But hey, how about those median prices? Okay, enough politics. I'll have a whole video for you on that later. In the meantime, let's see what happened last month in the market. So stay tuned as I break all this down for you. Okay, first up, let's check out last month's sales. Last month, we sold 1,726 homes. This was a 9% increase over February sales, but the polarizing number here is that sales are down 17% compared to March of last year. And to make this sound even worse, last year we only sold 2/3 of the home that we sold in 2022. So, put simply, sales are still roughly half of what we typically see this time of year. So, certainly nothing to brag about here. All right, with diminished sales, normally you'd expect to see prices plummeting since it looks like demand is weak. But as you can see on the screen now, somehow, some way, the median price increased last month by $10,000. This also puts us up almost 11% from where we were this same time last year. Considering we went up $15,000 in February and now $10,000 in March, it's really not unreasonable to presume that we'll soon be back to our all-time high of $485,000 by the end of this summer. So sales are down about half of the norm, yet the median price is dramatically increasing. So clearly this indicates a massive supply issue. Well, on the screen now, you can see that our absurdly low inventory managed to decrease by about 4% last month. We're currently barely over 3,000 homes for sale. Now, normally, we see inventory start increasing around mid-March and hitting that fever pitch around April and May. But this year, well, suffice to say, there's a ton of moving parts that could easily disrupt our market in the short term. But more about that in a minute. First, let's discuss housing absorption by price range. Now, I created this metric to determine how competitive different price ranges are performing. Now, if I'm a first-time home buyer, I really couldn't be less concerned with how the luxury market is performing, and of course, vice versa. So let's start off with the bulk of our market, homes priced between $250,000 to $500,000. In a dramatic increase, we went from 50% last month to 54% right now, meaning more than half of the homes that you see on Zillow in this price range are already under contract. In January, this number was only 37%. Next, we have homes priced between $500 and $750. This received the most dramatic increase of all, jumping 6% from 40 to 46. Next, we have $750 to $1 million. This increased modestly from 32 to 34%. Next, let's talk luxury. Homes priced from $1 million to $1.5 million. Surprisingly, this segment decreased from 31% down to 30%. And finally, we have the ultra luxury segment of homes priced over $1.5 million. This increased by 3% from 18 to 21. Overall, the market is now at 46% saturation. So again, almost half the homes currently on the market are already under contract. This is literally twice as competitive as we saw last January when we only had 23% saturation. So we covered a lot here today. Sales are dim, median prices increasing, and inventory is about as low as you can possibly get. As a result, we have a hyper seller's market right now. So what's really going on here, and what does the future look like? Now, last week I had the pleasure of attending a presentation by Jeremy Aguero, who is the principal analyst for Applied Analysis. Now, they're the foremost leader in economic data analysis. Well, one of the more interesting takeaways was the fact that Nevada is now the fastest growing state for employment growth. More specifically, Las Vegas is now the leader in employment growth among the largest 30 metro areas in the entire country, and by a large margin, no less. And while Las Vegas is still very much a hospitality-driven economy, you can see that we're now diversifying our job creation as a city. With Sony recently announcing production studios in Summerlin, this creates roughly 10,000 high-paying jobs for our city, with more even on the way. So while we tend to think that it's just those rich people from California driving up our prices, the situation is much broader than that. As much as we complain about housing prices, keep in mind that it's just all part of our inflation problem. You can see here that housing has inflated less than utilities and even food. Bottom line, don't expect this trend of increasing housing prices to change course anytime soon. Now, the last topic I'm going to briefly touch on has to do with the war on commissions, as I'm aptly naming it, and we discussed earlier in the introduction. Now, presuming a federal judge signs off on the Justice Department settlement in mid-July, how we buy and sell real estate will be forever changed. Again, I'm going to dedicate an entire video on this topic. But for now, we have an interesting situation brewing. While most consumers truly do not understand how this will affect them, it's clear that many sellers are holding out until the change does go into effect. But meanwhile, smart buyers out there that don't want to suddenly have to pay their agent's commission come August are rapidly attempting to purchase homes. But if this continues, we could potentially see a situation where buyers have already cleared the table and then sellers dump their properties in August to try to take advantage of lower sales costs. But there might just be a lot less available buyers come August, at least for a while. So if you're looking to purchase, my advice is 100% jump in ASAP before prices continue to surge and the inherent cost of purchasing a home increases once the financial burden of representation falls on your shoulders now. Now, if you're looking to sell, it's like more of a calculated bet. It's an absurd seller's market out there right now. So I would strongly be looking to list your home in the next couple of months as the market reaches its annual peak. Now, sure, you can wait until August to list your home for potentially half of the price of selling. But until that judge signs off, there's also no guarantee. There's also no guarantee on how this entire mess of a situation is logistically going to pan out. Well, that's it for this month, guys. Stay tuned as I plan on releasing a full breakdown on the war on commissions soon. But in the meantime, I've got plenty of great property tours coming your way, including a 2-year-old modern masterpiece on the Las Vegas Country Club golf course, just a few homes away from the real-life home of Frank Rosenthal, who was portrayed by Robert De Niro in the film Casino. So please make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Deuces.